This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime in association with Micromax.
Brick Eagle presents The Realty Debate with Manisha Natarajan, powered by Reliance Home Finance.
Is it challenging in India to build affordable homes? Of course it is. Why else would there be a shortage of almost 2 crore homes in urban India alone? And despite the shortage, there are affordable homes lying vacant across India. Consider this. Under the government-sponsored affordable home scheme, which is JNNURM, out of 10 lakh homes built, there were no takers for almost 2.5 lakh homes. The lesson in all of this is just simple. A pent-up demand of the product does not ensure that there are takers for everything out there in the market. Today, in the concluding part of our affordable housing series, we find out from a panel of experts involved in this business very closely on what does it take to market affordable homes in India. Joining me, Sanjay Shah, promoter and CEO of DBS Communities. Also with me, Raghav Garg, Director Garg Group, and Anurag Jhawar, Business Head Consulting and Data Insights, PropTiger.com. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. Sanjay, I am going to come to you. A basic question. Is it really a myth that all affordable homes sell like hotcakes?
I think a lot of our friends has tried it, and it's a myth that it sells with the hot cake, but it doesn't happen that way. I think you need to connect with your target segment. Let me put it this way. Affordable housing is also slightly larger terms right now, and it starts from, you don't know what you call affordable housing.
If I were to describe it and say sub 25 lakh homes, let's just focus on the sub 25 lakh homes, Sanjay. How difficult is it to even market this category which has so much pent up demand?
See, these people where we are working is less than 15 lakhs, not even 25 lakhs, and these people doesn't know that they becomes eligible to buy a home. That is to start with that. So I will try to put two things here.
Okay.
One thing is you need to identify your target segments and you need to connect with them. So you can actually reach to them, you can communicate with them, and you can tell, see, there is a home for you, number one. And if you have anything, you can come and open up your tailor-made problems and we can have a solution for it. Number two, there is a builder phobia in the people in this mind. They are really scared to, because they have been grown with certain images of the people who supply this home. So you have to take them out of this and you have to just make them comfortable. And if you do this and if you distribute it well, then I think you are cracking the whole thing.
Oh my God, Sanjay, I mean, you've really in a nutshell summed it all up. You're saying this category of buyers don't even know that they're eligible to buy a home. You're seeing that you need to connect with them and help them understand and solve each of their problems so they actually end up buying and take away the large builder phobia. Wow. Raghav Garg, how much would you agree with Sanjay that these are some of the most critical challenges? You know, surprisingly, Raghav, you work with the ministry so closely, being here in the National Capital Region. We constantly kept asking the ministry, Housing Ministry, do you have any data on how affordable homes in India are marketed? And they came back with saying, we have nothing in it. They have not even investigated on why 2.5 lakh homes lie unsold in a segment where there's so much pent up demand and good taxpayers' money has already been spent in building their homes. Nobody at the ministry level has a clue.
So your question is, how much do I agree with Sanjay? So my answer to this would be 200%.
Okay.
So for us, affordable housing, it doesn't sell like hotcake. It doesn't happen that aapne 5 lakh ka, if you've launched a project at 5 lakh rupees, even we've launched project at 4.5 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 7 lakh rupee homes. So they don't sell like you sell it in a day.
Okay.
You really have to connect with the customer. You really have to know who is the person who's going to buy the house, live in the house, pay their EMI, because it is their life saving. No matter how cheap it is, no matter how much you subsidize to it. For this segment, buying a 5 lakh rupee, 10 lakh rupee house in an environment where in newspapers and all around you see unauthorized flats, plots being sold in the name of affordable housing. So they have, as Sanjay rightly said, a lot of builder phobia. They see you with a lot of skepticism ki yaar milega nahi milega, whether will you get it or not, what the product will be, is it low quality, is it approved, the bank loan will happen or not. So they have so many questions, and then what they do is they sit back at their home and say, okay, we are good the way we are. So you really need to get out to the customer. You have to draw them out of their comfort zones, and then you have to give them a product.
In fact, when you say life savings for them, this 5 lakh is really a huge life saving, isn't it? It's probably the biggest investment they will ever make or purchase that they will ever make. Anurag Jawar, how much do you agree with this fact that you need to go and find these buyers? It's not that the buyers are queuing up for these products, which is what we keep believing, that it's such a low-hanging fruit. It's, you get into making affordable homes, there's no way that they're not going to sell.
Right, Manisha. So I would agree with this totally, that as we are talking about a product which is, say, sub 20 lakhs, going up to, say, as low as 5 lakh rupees, we are talking about, kind of discussing with buyers who are like falling into EWS or LIG category. Now, these are the guys, they would need to be convinced, say, educated in terms of they are the first time buyers, obviously, and they would not know a lot of technical terms on the real estate side. And above all, from a hearsay perspective, the feedback which they get is that this sector hasn't been able to deliver too much on promise in the previous era. So there's a lot of effort which is required to convince about a particular proposition.
Lot of effort. Sanjay Shah, it's not necessarily true that all projects are very, very far away from the city. I mean, the ones that you're developing in Gujarat and Ahmedabad, they shouldn't be 30-40 kilometers away. So tell me, how do you find who's your customer? I mean, to connect with customers, you actually need to find the customer. How do you decide that? Do you say, all right, this is Umang is the area that I'm going to be launching in. Maybe this is the population which already lives in this area in rented homes. These are the people, literally, it's like a door-to-door direct marketing. How does it happen?
See what we had done, we came up with the special business. See, our company only focus on the affordable housing, number one. And when we are making our business plan, I think we are the first one and the only one right now in India. We have engaged NGO as our facilitator or the bridge between customer and the developer, because the NGO Saath to whom we are working with, they were working with the people in the slums and in the other areas for the 30 years. So they were knowing how to talk to them, they know how to open them up. So this is one way of connecting with them.
Okay.
If I address to your second thing, we have been not developed anything very far. What our strategy was to have our site in 5-kilometer radius from any industrial development.
Okay.
All of our development in Ahmedabad is near Vatwa GIDC and other GIDC, where their workplace is near. So it is right, as Mr. Narurag said, if your project is too far and if your infrastructure and other things is not up to the mark, then there is a serious disconnect of the aspirations of the customer and what you are delivering them.
Okay. Fair enough. Raghav, tell me, I mean, when I look at the statistics, I find that the largest number of affordable homes which are lying vacant are in Delhi. Now, how far can you go in Delhi? You're talking about Delhi geography. Here, you're not even talking about NCR. Why are they then? Is there a question then that private developers have to work differently and the government has to work differently when it comes to marketing affordable homes?
Yes, obviously. Private sector thinks differently, totally. And the government projects, I'm not very expert on the government projects, so cannot answer what they're doing wrong, right? In Delhi, so Mr. Sanjay has been very lucky to be operating in Gujarat because Gujarat has workplaces. Right. We come from state of UP, there's a lack of industrialization, and then he's luckier to have infrastructure supporting those workplaces.
Absolutely.
Right. So I went to Ahmedabad, they have built a ring road and they have declared that area around ring road as affordable housing zone. And it's a hub and spoke model where there are a lot of roads connecting to the ring road. So it's an ideal situation for affordable housing to be created. And Gujarat has lots and lots of them, especially Ahmedabad I've seen. There is no such situation. For example, I come from city of Ghaziabad, which is near Delhi. There is so much tremendous potential of affordable housing in Ghaziabad, but there is no infrastructure. There are only two roads, the NH24, NH58, which are not wide enough. A customer, if he lives in Modi Nagar, he would take 2 hours or 2.5 hours to drive down from NH58 from Modi Nagar to Delhi. So it doesn't make sense for him to buy a house in Modi Nagar.
So you're still in the business. So we come back to then, it has to be marketed. There is a pent-up demand. So Raghav, what do you do? I mean, for example, if Sanjay at Vastu Show works with NGOs, how do you market them? I mean, UP again is hugely populated. How do you market it to the people there?
I'll quote from the book. There's a book by Jack Welch, From the Gut. So the entrepreneur always operates from the gut. The idea is just the way Sanjay Bhai has connected with the NGOs. Our family has a presence of 200 years in the city. So it's majorly from the personal networks that we have. Newspaper ads, marketing, hoarding banners, they don't work in this segment. You have to personally connect with the customer.
So does word of mouth once, because you have this reputation, you said 200 years. So here's the reputation part.
Yes.
That's very strong. How does a new builder crack this reputation? Anurag, I'm going to come to you because you're dealing with a whole variety of developers. There's ATS also getting into, if not tier 1, at least in Bulandshahars, etc. They're trying to launch or get into affordable housing. Every developer today, Anurag, wherever I go, they're talking about how to crack affordable housing because they've realized that above 50 lakhs is getting harder and harder to sell. So you tell me, if you were to look at as a marketing partner, what would you say a new developer can do to actually reach out and sell to this segment?
See, essentially we are talking about a good location. Where it is from an infrastructure perspective, connectivity is there. If the developer has some background
like NCR, do you have a good location where there is infrastructure and affordability? Let's strike that out. Okay, let's say that's not possible, but you still have to market. How will you do it? You need to make your commissions, no? You still need to sell. That's what's the stock going to be in the next 5 years. You're going to get more and more affordable housing.
So essentially, we need to look at the overall proportion.
Education. Let me throw this open and said, you said you need to educate these people, right? How will you, what medium will you use to educate them? There's a whole, many industries, there's FMCG which has reached to the poorest segments in rural areas. How in housing can you educate the buyer?
So largely, Manisha, in our experience, all the sales which has happened in this segment is from the local area itself. So for instance, in Bangalore, if we are picking up, say, any affordable project, almost 80 to 90% of the sale will come from the local market.
Okay.
And largely what works is a lot of BTL activity in terms of connecting with these guys through, regional newspapers, regional radios, regional television, pamphlets, communicating with them more and more, and probably setting up kiosk in, say, these industrial, all these companies which you're talking about. So it's very important to reach out to them and explain the proposition. Again, if you talk about the pricing, we need to kind of sit with the developer and get a unique customer proposition which is kind of different from the market. Some stats which probably might add some more light on the scenario. Almost 29% of the overall launches in the country in last year were in this 0 to 25 lakh bracket.
Wow. So Sanjay, here you have the biggies. You've got Tata's, Godrej, Shapoorji Pallonji, everybody making a beeline for affordable homes. Tata's have also used online, and these are actually homes which are fairly well priced. Even Mahindra is trying out Happy Nest and other projects in Bohisar, etc. How do you see that? Do you think that as more big players get into it, over time the buyer will have more confidence and the industry will find it easier to sell and market affordable housing? Is that your understanding?
Not exactly. See, there are a lot of local players, like Raghav has said, local players, they are making a difference. Because one of the major thing what these people thinks is where to go and ask. They need a face in front of them where they can go and complain, where they can go and tell their problems, and where they can go and they can tell this, okay, I need some more products in the financial thing also. It is not only house that we are buying, and we need a support at every level. So in this particular thing, if the companies are coming, that companies are following with the systems because they are working from the different level. If I talk for myself, all my projects has 95% occupancy, and I know almost 80% of people, all my marketing team and myself, maybe by the face or by the name, which is not going to be possible for the Tatas and Mahindra. At the same time, there will be limitations for me how I can just scale this up. So it is going to be both ways, and I think some humanized and personalized approach is required in this, because people like not going to the government housing, people were thinking that there is only government who will build these houses, number one. So when the builder comes, as I mentioned earlier, they come with the builder phobia. What is for builder into this?
Right.
So if you are convincing them that you are there for them and you have an actual product for them, and there can be a customer service, there can be other things as other commodities or any other consumer goods, then they might probably taking you as one of the producer or the producer of the affordable housing.
Okay,
And
fair enough. I think you've raised a really important point, Sanjay. You've said it's a very humanized and a personalized business, Raghav. I think I now finally get it in terms of why a lot of these large corporate players are struggling with affordable housing. But then there's scalability as well, which is required by local developers. So tell me, I mean, do you feel that it's better for local developers to continue to play in this market, or do you think that there could be alliances between large corporate players and local players to actually fulfill this huge gap for housing?
I think there will be alliances between large corporate and the local thing, because all local developers will have certain kind of limitations. So yes, if you want to scale up, you need systems. At the same time, you need to have some flexibility in the systems. So when person to person there is some problem of there is something to be sorted out, you have those kind of inbuilt formula.
All right.
So
fair
you
enough,
can be
Sanjay.
little more
Fair enough.
as
Okay, let me get Raghav's viewpoint here as well. Raghav, don't say I'm 200% agreeing with.
So that is
Sanjay.
cheating, right? You ask him first, he says the right things. Now there's nothing for me to say, because this is actually we don't need Mahindra or a Tata brand in this. What we need is their systems.
Okay, you need their systems, you need their capital, which comes at 10% corporate funding.
Yes, maybe.
But you can do the business very well.
Exactly. So what Mahindras and Tatas of the world need to do is they need to rope in the local people, make their strategies in a way that where they bring their systems at low cost, because it's a low cost and a low affordable housing domain.
So those high corporate salaries won't work in this structure.
It won't work, and they need to form some strategies to involve the local player in it, because it is the local players who will draw in the customer. As Sanjay Bhai said, our customers, 100% customers, I would say they would know our family, and we would know their family in some way or the other.
Okay, so other than the family and the pedigree, tell me, so Anurag mentioned a couple of it, because this discussion is about marketing. You said, okay, NGOs, personal connect, humanizing, taking them through the motions, getting them, being there with them at every step. But if you were to just use marketing mediums, BTL, below the line, is a very, very large term. So give us some interesting things that you as a group have done, which have been innovative. Raghav?
So for us, roadshows has been very, very relevant, because as I said, you have to go there and draw in. Newspapers, very bad, no. Very expensive, no calls. People don't just trust the newspaper.
So ads, even in regional newspapers, don't work
for us, it didn't.
Okay.
So they failed miserably. Hoardings, no, a big no.
Okay.
When we went out into the catchment areas with our and did the road shows, did some hand-holding sessions on financing, did some hand-holding session and explaining them the product right in there, and then giving them a lot of financing facilities, say site visit facilities, building a personal network of people in the catchment areas. This is what really helped us.
Does working with large institutionalized brokers work? I mean,
Not,
for example,
I'm afraid to say no. Large institutionalized brokers didn't, because again, they have their corporate mindset. What worked for us was the large number of small brokers.
okay, how are you going to crack that, Anurag Jhawar? Your business, it depends on getting or cracking that affordable housing market. Very quickly, and we're going to wrap out of this discussion. Final word.
So, Manisha, the way we are approaching this is obviously we are going and giving them end-to-end solution, because as the eminent developers have mentioned, this is something which requires a dedicated approach. It requires, it's not only an online game. Obviously, online also plays a picture the moment you are hitting, say, above 20 lakh category. But largely, if you look at a 10 to 12 lakh budget, we are talking about someone earning a 3 lakh plus per year. And a 3 lakh plus category, there are people who are reasonably, literate on the computer side. So online helps us to generate leads. But essentially, there is a lot of work which is required to convince them, take them on site visit, help them kind of, resolve their queries. So the way we are approaching is a holistic manner, taking up the project on a larger level, take them through the phases, have an integrated approach on the online as well as offline. Obviously, offline is a very, very important thing. And to add to that, we have seen that, some medium which has worked in particular market probably might not work in the same manner in the other market, because the economic drivers are totally different. So Pune is still reasonably, I would say, more literate crowd, so is the Bangalore. However, on the northern side, obviously, as people have mentioned, it calls for customizing the overall plan and reaching out to these guys. So it's a game which calls for partnership from a long-term perspective, and we are here for the long haul.
All right, gentlemen, I think we've covered all the points, and I think some of the key takeaways are that this is not a business that you can sell or a product that you can sell with hoardings or newspaper ads or celebrities or anything of that sort. In fact, it has to be human, personal, based a lot on your reputation in the market, and it would be really, really good for actually large corporates to partner with local developers who already have a great reputation in this space. Thank you, gentlemen. Sanjay Shah, we've kept you sweating, but then you're used to going to affordable housing sites and also to your customer. I'm sure the NDTV Ahmedabad studio experience has been probably similar. Next time we'll try and make it a little bit more comfortable for you. Raghav Garg and Anurag Jhawar, gentlemen, pleasure to have you with me. Very interesting discussion and humongous learning for me. Personally, very curious about how it was being done and very interesting takeaways. After the break, we'll take a look at the rest of the housing industry in India, which caters to the top 3% or maybe even less, 1 or 2% of India, the not so affordable homes. Well, in a downturn, what are the marketing strategies used by some of the developers to sell homes in this particular down cycle? Stay with us. Marketing is our focus today.